I hate dolls. Like, if you put me in a room with a doll, I'm not saying I'm going to smash it, but I'm also not going to smash it. Last night I was awoken by what sounded like whispering. I assumed it was my girlfriend and I, because we do this sometimes, where we talk in our sleep and we have entire conversations that neither of us remember having in the morning. But then I heard, "Get away from me." And I sat up in bed and I was like, what the fuck? And I listened, and I could have sworn I heard my name being called. Now, for some context, I live in an old house. It's like 100 years old. This house has seen some shit. People have died here. Children have cried. Lovers have laughed. All of the things you expect to happen in a 100-year-old house. It comes with some pretty standard creaks and moans. And sometimes when the wind blows through the chimney, it sounds like someone's screaming in the other room. So I'm used to hearing strange noises in this house. But none of them have ever sounded like human voices before. My girlfriend, bless her heart, is the most skeptical person I know. Like, she doesn't believe in ghosts. She doesn't believe in magic. She doesn't believe in the Loch Ness Monster. She doesn't even believe in Bigfoot. She believes that all of those things are either misidentifications or hoaxes. She's the type of person who would rather see something with her own eyes before she believes it. So she's not really the type of person to just go, "Oh, let's investigate that noise." But the way that I know that this wasn't just my imagination is because I can quote what the voice said verbatim, and I do and think I could ever forget something like that. It was a woman's voice, and it said, "Please get away from me. Leave me alone. Why won't you leave me alone? Please leave me alone. Get away from me." And then the last thing she said was, "Why did you take my eyes?" Those words still send shivers down my spine every time I think about it. Like, I don't want to be too dramatic or anything, but I truly believe that if she had spoken one word louder, I would have gotten out of bed and ran to the opposite side of the house and hid under the covers and stayed there until morning. The only reason why I did untade was because I looked over at my girlfriend and she was still fast asleep, so I just figured that I had to have imagined it. But it was definitely not the type of nightmare where you wake up and you're like, "Whoa, that was a crazy dream." No, this felt like a nightmare that I was having in my physical reality. So after that, I just laid back down and tried to go back to sleep, but obviously that didn't work. I kept listening intently for any other sounds, and of course I heard nothing. And eventually I was able to fall back asleep, but now I'm wide awake again. So I guess it has time to make some breakfast and watch some TV and try to forget about what I heard last night. And honestly, that's how the rest of my morning went. I made some breakfast, watched some TV, played some video games, and while I was doing these mundane everyday tasks, I kept replaying that conversation in my head. "Get away from me. Please leave me alone. Why won't you leave me alone? Please leave me alone. Get away from me." And then the last thing she said, "Why did you take my eyes?" That sentence specifically was driving me insane. Like, I don't want to sound like an idiot. I couldn't help but wonder if maybe someone had broken into the house in the middle of the night and done something horrible to me. And I just didn't remember. But then I would think, well, if someone broke into your house, wouldn't you just be dead right now? And then I thought, well, maybe they did kill me. Maybe I'm a ghost now. Then I thought, well, if you're a ghost, then why are you watching this show on Netflix? And that's when I realized I was overthinking everything. But nonetheless, I decided to go check on my girlfriend one more time before I went to work just to make sure that she was okay. Because, maybe she wasn't just talking in her sleep and maybe this was actually some kind of serial killer situation. So I got out of bed and I walked over to her and I gently shook her shoulder and I asked her, "Did you say anything last night?" She responded, "What do you mean?" And then I explained what I heard and I told her exactly what I was thinking. And she looked at me for a second and she said, "You're an idiot." Of course I was talking in my sleep. And then she started laughing because apparently she had been dreaming about some creepy guy trying to abduct her, and she was yelling at him to get away from her. And she was saying, "Don't come near me. Don't touch me. Why won't you leave me alone? Don't kill me. Please don't kill me." And then she remembered that she had said, "Why did you take my eyes?" And she started laughing even harder. And then I joined in on the laughter because, what else was I going to do? Be mad at her? I guess that was a possibility, but it's not like she did it on purpose. And it's not like she meant to scare me. I just laughed it off and I went to work. However, that sentence stuck with me throughout the day. I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses for my girlfriend or anything, but I feel like there are some situations where it's better to just let it go. And this was one of those situations. And the fact that she had already apologized multiple times during the day just made it even harder to stay mad at her. So that was that. I forgot about it. I moved on with my life. Fast forward 2 nights later. Now, keep in mind, my girlfriend and I were staying up late to watch a scary movie marathon. And the scariest part of it was that my girlfriend was sleeping in the guest room that night because her parents were in town and they were staying in our room. So I was literally all alone in the house. And I was just watching TV and drinking beer. It was about 2 a.m. and I was getting pretty drunk. And I started to feel this overwhelming sense of sadness. And it's hard to explain, but it's like I felt connected to my ancestors, you know? The ones who built this house over 100 years ago. And I was feeling so sentimental about the history of this house. And I was thinking about how it probably wasn't the best idea to drink so much alcohol while I am all alone in a 100-year-old house. And suddenly, I heard footsteps in the hallway. And I just looked at each other and I was like, that's not possible. And then I started to laugh because I was drunk and I was like, hello, ancestors, I welcome you. And then I continued laughing. And then I heard a knock on the door. And it was soft, but it was very clear. It was a light knock. Knock, knock. And then I heard the doorknob slowly turning. And that's when I stopped laughing. And I started to panic. So I got up and I walked over to the door and I leaned against it and I waited. And after a few seconds, I heard the footsteps come closer. And then the doorknob started turning again. And I swear I felt my heart stop beating for a moment. And then I heard my name being called. And it was that same voice. It was the exact same voice that I heard 2 nights ago. It said, John, 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 John. And then it whispered, why did you take my eyes? And then I turned the lights on. And I want to make it clear that I am not the type of person to believe in ghosts or anything supernatural. But if there is such a thing as ghosts, then I can say with an almost complete certainty that this was a ghost. So I don't know what else it could have been. I mean, yes, my girlfriend does make fun of me for believing in ghosts and all that stuff, but I know what I heard and I know what I saw. And no amount of skepticism or disbelief from others is going to change that.